Hey guys, thanks a lot for hitting on the video. I hope you enjoyed the last one. I had a great time going through all that stuff with David. On this one, we're starting to move down the table a little bit and look at those teams who maybe underperformed last year or maybe got a good head of steam towards the end of the season and as a result maybe might start this season stronger. Again, we talk about different players, key guys to watch out for, different dynamics in the teams and that kind of thing. Massive shout out as always to Gamba, Osaka, English.blog. Make sure you're following them and helping and giving them love and support for helping us provide this content. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys, and I hope you enjoy this one. Take care. When we actually look at the table again, let's have a wee peek. So I think all these teams we've kind of spoke about, we would expect quite reasonably a successful year ahead for in some way, shape and form. That's basically the top 5 we've kind of spoke about so far. There's a kind of nice little clutch from, I don't know, say 6 to probably 12 of clubs that have a lot of nice, capable cards in them. I'm talking about Tokyo FC, Kashiwa Reysol, Hiroshima, Yokohama Marinos, Urawa Red Diamonds, I think it's the full name, sorry, Oita Trinita, and Sapporo Casserole, I call them, I don't know what the real one is. But that little clutch of clubs there's a lot of attractive little cards in there from my experience anyway.
Yep.
So the first one we kind of come on to would be FC Tokyo. Now, FC Tokyo, the only kind of name, there's 2 names that jump out at me right away, or 3 names, I beg your pardon. That would be the goalkeeper Hitano, Higashi the number 10, and Diego Oliveira the number 9.
Yes.
Watanabe, I think he scores well, the centre back, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they're solid. I think the first thing you said there is the goalkeeper situation. That's the important thing with FC Tokyo. They've got Go Hatano, the youngster. We were talking about young goalkeepers, and he's one of the standout ones for next season. The first choice goalkeeper, Akira Hayashi, he's got a long-term knee injury, so a lot of people in the off season have been trying to load up on Go Hatano.
Yeah, well, that's a sensible strategy for anyone who's deployed it. And say that again.
If you're looking for that under 23 goalkeeper, he's it.
Yeah, fair enough. The little note we've got on this is they will probably improve merely not being involved in the Champions League this year. That being said, the squad looks very unbalanced with a load of options in central midfield and attack, but significantly less further back. So, do you think they're kind of maybe taking a wee gamble on the fact that they do have less fixtures in the coming calendar, that they can rely more on the assets at the club they have already?
I think they do. I mean, they're a giant club. The no Champions League thing will be advantageous for them. I mean, they've got that base of players. The attacking players in Leandro and Oliveira. I mean, Leandro is fantastic. His set pieces, his free kicks. I still think that they're a bit light up front. I think that's what they need. They need that striker. That I'm surprised they didn't fill that hole.
Leandro, he's a set piece taker.
Yeah, Brazilian guy. I mean, they won the effectively the Japanese FA Cup last year, and they let the kid there. They had a kid there called Taichi Hara. He was about 6'2", and he was a real prospect. And I had him, and he's just vanished. He's gone to Poland, so I don't know what happened to him. But that's who they need. They need a striker really. But Leandro is a top guard on SoRare. Takes all the free kicks.
I think he's quite undervalued. And if you look at his last 5, he's got 2 DNPs, which does play a part in a card's short-term value. And he's going for a relatively modest price. 3 different sellers there.
I think they rested him at the end of the season, ready for the cup final.
Yeah, probably.
The DNPs are there.
Doesn't surprise me if he's an important part of the puzzle. So there's potentially another little bargain out there for somebody who's not went and got themselves one yet. Rolling on, we've got Kashiwa Reysol, a team that grew on me week by week with Arturo Osaka and then Ominami, and then I quite like the boy, I've not got him yet, Koga, and I was close to getting a Alonga, never went down that route, which depends on timing. I suppose is maybe a good thing, depends on your kind of stance on that in terms of how you got in and out of it, if you have the card, if you've been involved in it. I suppose the Cristiano guy, is he going to start all season, do you think? I was a wee bit surprised he never went and got another striker.
Yeah, I don't think so. From what I've seen of Cristiano, he's not a striker. He's more of an attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
That looks like just a makeshift kind of plug. They haven't replaced Alonga, have they? So You have to say that's another weakness. But the spine of that team that you personally identified really early on in your SoRare journey is are the ones to get. You know, Ominami, Osaka. I mean, you did really well to identify both of those.
Thanks. Do you know what it was with Ominami? Because he wasn't.
And the team.
No, sorry. What I was going to say was, see, with Ominami, he was injured, I think, when the cards all came on, and he wasn't really in the team so much anymore. But he came up on, I was looking through all the stats and all the lists and stuff like that, and he came up on 3 different lists, but he was like 12th.
Yep.
He wasn't like, the top 10 or anything like that. But little correlations like that, when I see that, I think, oh, that's actually somebody I want to look under the bonnet with a bit more. And then I seen he was playing right back, he was playing centre back, he was under 23, he was cheap as chips, and I thought, this guy's somebody who you can't really lose on in terms of, if you can get like top.
Well, he came in.
He
came in because of was it Takahashi, the other centre back, I think, where he was injured, and then Omanami just came out of sort of nowhere and took his place and really grasped it and had a really good season.
Yeah, so he's got me to thank for it, I think, for giving him belief and pumping him up. But little correlations like that, because see, for most statistics, see if you can be. A lot of people get really hyped on the top 5 in a division for like goals, assists, key passes, whatever. But if you can be in like the top 20 in a division for 2, 3, 4, 5 statistics, you're obviously a really capable player, and those are the ones. Sometimes I say there's another guy in the Eredivisie. I think I've not recorded the Eredivisie stuff yet, so I won't say his name. There's a guy in the Eredivisie that's grabbed my attention. It's like that as well as a forward, and he's not as low as Ominami was for some of them, but he's like been 6th, 8th, 4th, 10th, and those are the players that are slightly safer bets. So I'm glad you like my Ominami.
And also with that, going back to that point there, is that if you have a certain amount of players from a certain amount of team, you can stack them, and I think we saw quite a lot of that last season where people were playing Ominami, Osaka, and Alongo in the same lineup. Yeah.
I think Koga was quite popular as well because he got into right back, and the right back, we were talking about it earlier, but the full back mentality, we want a full back over a centre back. It sometimes can pay off, or more. I would say your centre back, the defender that scores the goal was the most valuable one, so it just depends. Could be a centre back from a corner, could be a full back bombing on overlaps and whatever. Sanfrecce Hiroshima is the next team. Okay, now when I was looking at this blog, I remember this from the first time I looked at this blog, right? I did find the way they constructed this 4-3-3 quite interesting, and I thought, oh, maybe this tells me something about some of these players I didn't know before. So it looks like Morishima and Asano, they're actually like quite tight 10 players rather than wider players. Is that is that right? Yeah.
They're both that kind of attacking midfielder. I mean, Yuya Asano is a little kind of jinky little player, tiny little player. He's more of a 10, where Morishima can play out wide. He can play, tuck in and play an 8 role. So, I mean, the thing with Sanfrecce is they on the left. I think they try and accommodate him where they can. I'm not sure they'll play that next season, but again, it depends on how they line up in the first game. We're going to know a lot more when the first fixtures roll out.
The right mid is a name that's not familiar to me. It's Rayner. Is he a new signing, or has he not got a card, or have I missed this guy?
No, he was. I think he was there last season, but he's nothing. I don't think he's a regular. So again, the expected 11s are subjective, aren't they? I think they're more likely to go with 4 in midfield. And I mean, Morishima, Tsukasa Morishima is to me he would be the primary candidate for the number 10.
Yeah.
Just play him behind Junior Santos.
Fair enough. But yeah, quite an odd formation. I've got Hayo Kawabe. I won him. He scores quite well. Nice midfielder.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, he's a great little player. He's another one in that candidate of sits. The central midfielder sits there, does everything.
Yeah, nice wee solid player. Yokohama F Marinos, I'm a big fan of because of the CFG connection, and according to this, my gamble on Obi Powell should be paying off. It looks like he should be the number 1 goalkeeper. And before we come on recording, you're telling me to go check out someone Dunham in the Champions League with a beastie chip from the halfway line. I'm not going to do that because it'll just make me sad. But if any of you want to check it out and go have a giggle, then feel free. But I'm glad to see.
I'll tweet it out for you.
Oh, thanks. I think he did do that last time, or maybe he didn't. I can't remember. But I think it was Twitter's when I seen it. But a very kind of CFG formation, 4-2-3-1. Marcos Jr. in the number 10 spot. Watanabe and Kida is the sitters. And trying to think of any other names we know. We know Iwata, he's a familiar name from last season certainly. And the striker on Onoweo, is he new or is that somebody I've missed?
No, he's a Japanese national, but I think he's got Nigerian heritage.
Okay.
So you might not be aware of him. They started to bleed him back through again at the end of last season in the Asian Champions League.
Yep.
But he's sort of young, kind of 5'9", 5'10", quick on the ball, classic striker. So the thing with Marinos is that they had a massive squad last year, and now they've got it down to what they think is that 11, and they've got some sleeper cards in there. I'll tell you. I mean, a lot of people will be looking at them and looking at the last season. Obviously, they finished up mid-table.
Yep.
They're going to push for the league this year.
Oh, really?
You're talking about the champions of 2019. So onto Marinos, they've got some great cards in there that I think personally as a team they're going to come back and have a push for the title for next season. There's a lot of cheapish cards in there. I mean, the captain, Takuya Kida, he's a central midfielder. You can normally pick him up for absolute buttons. And going forward with their attacking options, I think people that are looking for possibly an undervalued team for next season, and the Marinos are one.
Yeah, oh, that's good to know, because I say I'm banking on the goalkeeper doing well, so if they're going to fly up the table.
Well, you've done well there. I mean, as we were speaking about before, there's 4 cards in circulation. Obviously, the 2021 cards will come out, but to have one of 4 at this, with only 3 weeks to go until the season, that's a fantastic position to be in.
Imagine looking at this on you. Wow, I think I might buy him while we're recording, because there's not been a transaction on him in a month at least. 17 days ago there was one. So again, when I see that with some cards that, like for example, I've never come across this guy. I don't even recognise his card. There's not that many of them either.
Whether he's going to play, he's not going to be the type that plays every week. He's going to be. I mean, the way they play, the manager and Postoglu, the way he rotates the squad. I think they've signed a new guy called Leo Chiera from Brazil.
Do you think he'll be the main guy up front then?
Well, I think they've given him the number 9 shirt, so I would imagine so. But the kid's good, Edu Onowu. He came on. He was playing in the Champions League, and he's got an eye for a goal.
His stats are good. I like them. I'm just sent somebody a wee offer. We'll see what happens. May happen on this video. May happen on the next one.
They've got two attacking midfielders as well. Deizan Maeda, who didn't have a card last year, and Etaro Masuda. He's another one who didn't have a card. So it's going to be worth paying off to have a look at who didn't have cards last year.
Yeah.
Like your Paolo Obi, and who's just ownership. I think ownership of cards goes overlooked a lot on SoRare.
What it was, see with the Paolo Obi, see when I was kind of digging into him, I seen that he got loaned out, and then they had problems with goalkeepers, and they brought him back and put him in the team. Yeah. And I didn't realise at that time that was what I seen. All that had happened. I didn't realise the team he went to was a J League team, and that's the main reason that he only got 4 cards issued, because he went to J2.
Yep.
And but again, I didn't realise that was the reason for the CISA production.
A lot to do with that is like you say, you quite rightly say, they did have problems with goalkeepers, and they did a trade with the Sagantosu for Park Il-Q, and Yohei Takaoka went the other way.
Yep.
But then when the Champions League turned up, then Paolo Obi was the one that they decided to go with. So apart from his ricket from being beaten from the halfway line, he was good. So and he looks a goalkeeper. So longer term, he's a great card to own.